Hello, welcome to Pecan Corner. I'm Tina and today I'm going to make rabbit fricassee. This is the first time that I've made this. Paul normally makes this, and normally we buy a cut up rabbit, but we were blessed with a rabbit, and all I have to do now is cut it up. So I'm going to give that a try. Basically cut it up just like you do a chicken, you know, just separate it at the joints, and find those joints here. You can feel them, so you can make a cut right there. And it should separate. You don't even have to cut much. I've got my cleaver set out. Cleaver's handy to have, although I hardly ever use it anymore. But this one is just it's called a Stay Sharp, and it's one of Sears. It was made by Sears, or sold by Sears, their brand. There's a bone I don't know anything about, so let's see how that's going to, okay, that's going to come out like that. All right. But these are actually, they look old and wonderful, and they're very heavy, but they're actually not very expensive when you can find them around surprisingly frequently, at surprisingly decent prices. So, okay, next one here. I spilled my pepper as I came across here, so if you see little dark specks on this rabbit, it's just that pepper. Okay, there's. Let me just pull this. Let's see where this. There we go. Okay, that one's gonna come out like that. Just kind of pull these separated at that joint right there. You can feel it. You can feel where that joint is. Just have to get it apart. I learned how to cut up a chicken a long time ago, but of course I don't do it very often anymore. Used to. We always cut up our chickens, but there we go. But these days we buy. And in fact, you can't even buy a whole cut-up chicken anymore. It's real hard to find them. I end up buying like just packages of thighs, you know, because that's works for us and it's less expensive that way. But it's a good skill to have. Okay, so there's the second one. And you know, these could be cut into other pieces. See, now I could cut this. Let me just show you real quick. Let me just cut this into. Take this little drumstick off here. Let me find the joint. There's the joint. And I can just break that. I think I can just separate that at the joint there. So where it, yep. There we go. So there's a little, you know, little drumstick. Do the same thing here. Just bend it gently. One of the things about cutting up your own chicken is you can get a lot more pieces out of a chicken when you do it yourself. My grandmother cut. Oh, there we go. See, that one I got just perfectly on the joint, so it just cut right through. So there's 4 pieces already out of 2 legs. She'd cut the breast. She'd cut it in half crosswise, and then she'd split the long piece, and then she'd take off the wishbone. So she'd actually end up with 4 pieces out of a breast of chicken, and of course she'd also have the back and the little part that went over the tail, over the fence last, and all of those. And so we actually shared out. We didn't need as many pieces of chicken per person. And that would make one chicken go real far. So, okay, here's the other one. Let's see where this is going here. Cut this on here. I'm just kind of feeling as I go and seeing where these kind of naturally join, and just take them off. It's really, really easy. This is actually a lot easier in many ways. Now there's so little meat on this, and I'm not gonna separate those two because this little part here just has hardly any meat at all on it on that front leg. So I'm just kind of feeling as I go, and that's really, it's my understanding it's that way with almost any kind of butchering that we do. Although this is the only, you know, I've only done a chicken before, and now this rabbit. There we go. Okay, now this is where my cleaver might come in, because I might need to take this stuff all apart here. Right down right there at the end of the ribs. I think I'll use this for that right there. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm not very, as you can tell, I'm not very good with a cleaver. A good butcher could just hit it once and it would go all the way through. Now, see how little fat there is on this, and this is a domestic rabbit. But see, there's hardly any fat on it, and that's why they talk about rabbit starvation, that the wild ones just don't have any fat at all on them. Okay, I'm going to cut here again. They have this long torso. There's not really much thing I can do with it except cut it into chunks, as near as I can tell. There we go. Okay. Okay, there's a chunk. And then this piece. Since it's just us, I'm going to leave that piece there. Although, these little, I don't know about these little flaps. I'm going to cut these little flaps off. I'll still bread them and fry them, but because what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this, dredge this in flour, seasoned flour, just brown them lightly, and then I'm going to put them in with some broth, and now this has got the ribs. What I'm supposed to do with this one. Okay, there we go. I'm going to break the ribs as part there and come along the backbone with this one. There we go. Okay, so that's what I did there, is I mashed it down and I broke those ribs on that side. So it's got all those little ribs, so I could actually probably bone it by taking those ribs out if I wanted to. Let's see here. Well, I'd have to get some pliers and get a hold of them, but I could probably pull those ribs out and make and bone that really easily. So I'll remember that in the future. I'm not going to mess with that today, because today I'm kind of running behind here. So I want to get this on to cook, because I'm going to cook it in the slow cooker. Now this piece that I'm cutting away here, alright, I'm just going to leave that like that since it's just us. Now I'm going to rinse these pieces now that I've handled them all. You know, you want to use good hygiene with everything you do. I'm going to rinse all these pieces, and don't even want to touch my camera with this raw meat on my hands. I'm going to rinse these off and dry them, and then I'll dredge them in seasoned flour, and I'll be back. Okay, now then, I'm going to make some seasoned flour real quick. All seasoned flour really means is that it's got salt and pepper in it. You can add other seasonings if you want. I've got, that's about a cupful of flour. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt, little black pepper, not too much, just a dab. Don't want too much in there, but do want a little dab for a little extra. Okay, now I've dried off my my rabbit. You want it dry because I don't want it. I just want the flour on there, and I'm heating some oil in a pan. I'm not gonna fry it all the way through in this pan. All I'm gonna do is brown it on both sides, and then I'm gonna move it into my my slow cooker with and cover it with chicken stock, and then let it simmer. The whole, that's the fricassee, is, you know, you take the fried meat and you cover it with broth, and then let it simmer in that, and it'll stew, and that'll make eventually the rabbit really tender. It's a good way to tender up an old hen or a rabbit, anything that is a little bit tough. You can add a little garlic to this, or fricassee recipes abound. There's all kinds of different ones out there. There's some that call for, you know, onions and peppers and tomato and that kind of thing. This is the way Paul's always made it, so that's what I'm making it today. It's just a real plain one, and we'll thicken the gravy when we're done and serve it over rice, so it'll be delicious. Okay. Let that start in there. So, some of these pieces of rabbit are going to have a whole lot of meat on them, and some of them don't have very much. I will learn if I do this very often. I've often thought if I were to raise meat, meat animals, that rabbits would be a good one to raise, but I hear that they're actually a lot more trouble than they seem like. So I think I'll stick to my original plan, which was to not have meat, not raise any meat animals. I'll stick to my bees. That's my kind of thing. There's a little bone in there that I don't want. I don't want that. Get that out. That's the problem. I don't like there it is. I don't like to leave little bitty pieces of bone. Somebody could choke on that, so I'm going to cut that out. There we go. Alright, now I'll have to scrub my whole counter here when I'm done. Alright, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm frying this until it's brown on one side, and then I'm turning it. I've saved my leftover seasoned flour that I dredged it in, because I'll use that to thicken the gravy after it's all done. I'm kind of in a hurry, and I kind of got behind, so I've got my broth already heating in my slow cooker, but normally I would pour my broth over it after I get it in there, but today I'm trying to get that slow cooker up to temperature. When I make videos like this, it's just my cooking. I may choose something because it would be fun to make a video out of, but I normally don't do it up just for the purpose of the video. I do it because it's what we're going to have to eat. So sometimes, like today, where I'm having to do things a little bit different because I'm running behind, it's just the way it is, you know. think that did browning good. This will be tasty. We love rabbit. It's so expensive we hardly ever get to eat it, but it's so flavorful, and I like it a lot. I also like it when it's fried up with just a little some garlic and salt and pepper on it, and just simmered real slow in the skillet. That's a really good way to make it too. But for the most part, we eat it stewed like this. That's sort of what fricassee is a kind of a stew. Now these don't have to be done. All they have to be is brown on both sides. So they don't need to be done inside. So I don't have to cook them for very long. We just let them get good and brown, and then just pop them over into my pan here. And so that's what they're going to do. Their real cooking is inside in the slow cooker. If I were frying them, trying to get them done all the way through, I would have fried them a lot slower and a lot longer. Okay. All right, I'll be back and show you when these are done. Okay, got it all in there. Now it's going to cook. I'm going to let it cook in the slow cooker for about 4 hours on high. Each slow cooker varies, so it just depends on yours how long it's going to need. Paul used to put this in the mornings before he'd leave for work, so it'd be done when we'd come back, but he put it on low. So it just depends on what your cooker will do. See you now. Okay, I've let these cook for 4 hours, and we tested them about 40 minutes ago to make sure they were getting they need to be so tender they're just falling off the bone. You can eat them a little better than that, but they're really at their best that way. What I'm doing now is I'm removing the meat so that I won't mess it up, because I want to thicken the gravy. I'm going to pour the gravy over into this pan. I've removed the grease that I fried the rabbit in, but I left the drippings there. But I did the little bits, because that'll be good in the gravy. So I'm setting these aside, and then I'll pour this over, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm heating this. I'm going to use the rest of my flour. There's so much liquid here. I'm going to dish some of that into the flour and mix it in there instead of pouring it on. Even using a whisk, it'd be hard to get get this position right where you can see what's going on. Okay, it'd be hard to get all of the lumps out if I just poured this into there. It's hot. Ouch! I used a metal bowl and had my finger there when I poured that boiling liquid in there. That's not very smart, Tina. Okay, now let me whisk this together. Now see, this is hot, so it's going to make that broth. It's going to cook it real quick, cook that flour and thicken up real fast. So I need to add a little more there. There we go. Okay, now I can put this thickening into there. I've got my heater on, my fire on under the pan so that it'll continue to cook, thicken it up. I found these great little, usually the, what's that word? For the material that these are made out of. I've gone blank. Anyway, I found these for $1. A whole lot less than the silicone. A whole lot less than the silicones usually cost. I think I'm going to have to go back. It was at little local store over in Goldthwaite. I think I'm gonna have to go back and buy me about 4 more packs of them because they're great. Here we go. Get this all thickened up, and then all I'm gonna do is put the meat back in here with it, and then we'll serve it over rice. I'll be back and I'll show you the final result. And there we are with the finished product. As you can see, it's super tender. See, it doesn't even require a knife at all. It just falls away from the bone so easy. And Paul said it's delicious, so I hope that you all will enjoy it. You can make chicken fricassee the same way, and you could use just a package of chicken thighs and do it. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal. All right, thank y'all so much, and enjoy your evening, and I hope you'll like it and give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe.